Hey there, welcome back to Reddit Dating, the best channel for Reddit cheating stories. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more stories like these. Now, let's get into the video. My 43 male ex-wife 38 female won't stop interfering and sabotaging any relationship I try to have. To give you a little bit of the backstory. My ex-wife cheated on me several times and left me for a guy she met at the gym back in the beginning of 2017. We were divorced by June of 2018. I found out after our divorce about a few more men she slept with before we got separated. Apparently, half the people in our small town knew what was going on, and no one thought it was their place to say anything to me. Anyway, the guy she left me for ended up being very abusive. By the end of 2017, she finally admitted to what was going on and had come to me for help. I told her that she could move back in with the kids and that I would do everything I could to help her get away from the abuse. After a couple months of her still getting pulled back in with the abusive boyfriend and constantly going back and forth between our house and the roadside motel the boyfriend lived at, she wanted me to drop the divorce, but I told her that I couldn't do that. I told her that she could stay living with us for as long as she needed, even after the divorce, but that the divorce had to continue. Once she knew that I was not backing down on the divorce, she has set out to make my life hell in any way she possibly can. She has sabotaged every relationship I try to have. She talks bad about me in front of our 4 children or even directly to them. She has harassed the women I dated, demanding their personal information, full legal name, home address, phone number, and social security number. She claimed that she had a legal right to their information and that she legally was allowed to run a background check on anyone that would be alone with our children or drive them anywhere. She talks badly to our children about whoever I'm dating. She would show up at my house unannounced and just walk in the front door without ringing the doorbell or knocking first. If she knew I was out with someone I was dating, she would intentionally start harassing me over text and email with some argument pertaining to our kids. If she knew I was home with someone I was dating during her parenting week, she would intentionally show up at my house unannounced and let the kids come running into my house. These are just a few examples of the things she does. Most recently, she has now taken me back to court to try and get full custody of our children. Currently, we have a 50/50 agreement. I've only dated 3 women since my divorce. The first woman I dated was someone that I met literally 1 week after my divorce. We became friends and hung out only as friends for the first couple of months. I had just finalized my divorce, and she was still in the middle of hers. I told her when we first met that I was not ready to date, and she said the same. During this time, because we were not romantically involved, she had met my children. When our feelings for each other became more, we started dating, but it only lasted a couple months. She had one run-in with my ex-wife. 1 week, during my parenting time, I was at work, and my kids were at my parents' house. My kids wanted to go to my girlfriend's house to play, so my girlfriend went and picked them up. My ex-wife found out that my kids were not at my parents' house and demanded to know where they were. I told her they were at a friend's house playing with other kids. She immediately demanded my girlfriend's personal information, insisting that she had a right to do a background check on her. I of course told her that I wasn't going to give her the information. She was making such a stink about it that she showed up at my parents' house demanding that our children be brought back there immediately. My girlfriend didn't want to cause any problems, so she drove my kids back to my parents' house. My ex-wife was there in the driveway. She immediately got right in my girlfriend's face and started yelling and cursing at her right in front of the kids. She was demanding my girlfriend's personal information. My girlfriend told her that she wasn't comfortable giving her the information, but that she would respect her wishes as a mother, and she would not drive my kids anywhere or be alone with them again in the future. My ex didn't care and said that because she had already driven them, she had a right to this information. My father had to step in between them because he was afraid that my ex-wife was going to hit my girlfriend. After this, my girlfriend ended our relationship. She told me that she couldn't deal with having that in her life. I couldn't blame her. We are still very good friends to this day. I didn't start dating anybody until around 8 months after that. This romance lasted for over a year and a half. I used my prior, although brief, relationship as a lesson and tried all I could to keep my ex-wife away from this new acquaintance. As soon as this lady saw my children and my children began to tell their mother how much they admired this woman, the harassment began to escalate. A few nights ago, my ex-wife came up to my house when she realized I wasn't home and that my girlfriend was here alone with my children. Then, in front of the kids, my ex-wife came in without knocking or ringing the doorbell and started pestering my girlfriend, demanding her personal information. The discussion with my girlfriend was transferred to another room away from the children, but my former wife demanded that they be there throughout the talk. My girlfriend was under a lot of strain, and she ended up telling my ex-wife all she knew about herself. Unsurprisingly, it didn't take long for my ex-wife to begin messaging and contacting my gal friend on the phone. My ex-boyfriend used to berate me in front of her all of the time. This, of course, was generating significant difficulties in our relationship. Because of this, as well as the other flaws in our relationship, I made the decision to leave the relationship. We've also remained pals to this very day. Let's get down to the major point of this piece. I began dating someone in October of last year. Discovering this individual has been the most incredible experience of my whole life. We had a strong connection on so many levels. Until now, I had never been in a relationship like this one in my whole life. There was not a single red sign, not a single disagreement, just an ideal connection. Once again, as soon as my ex-wife discovered that I was seeing someone, she began harassing me on the internet. I was able to keep my new relationship a secret from my ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. They had never met or spoken to one another before. As a result, when my ex-wife was unable to undermine in this manner, she began speaking negatively about this lady to our children. Then she would tell our kid that I didn't want anything to do with him anymore, and that all I wanted to do was spend time with my new gal friend and her 4-year-old son. She would tell our girls that I didn't care about them anymore since all I wanted to do was spend time with my new lady friend, and she would be correct. Please keep in mind that at this point, my gal friend had not yet met my children. Because of this, I did not see my girlfriend at all during the weeks I was home with my children. While in court for our current custody dispute, my ex-wife began telling nasty falsehoods about my female friend and her kid in front of the whole courtroom, informing the court that she is cruel to my children and does not respect them, that her 4-year-old son is terrible, and that all of my children informed my ex-wife that they disliked my lady friend. Of course, it was all a fabrication. At the time of this court appearance, my girlfriend had only spent a total of 8 hours with my children at my home. She and her son had us over for dinner on a few of occasions, and we ran into her and her kid in a few other parks as well. Unfortunately, my gal friend was in the adjacent room while I was on the Zoom call for this court session, which made it difficult to concentrate. As a result, she was aware of everything that was said about her. This was the beginning of the end of our romantic connection with each other. A few weeks later, she called it quits and admitted to being over heels in love with me, but she couldn't stand the thought of having that type of crap in her life. I'm at a loss for what to do in order to get my ex-wife to quit doing what she's doing. I've brought it up in court, I've talked with my attorney, and I've written emails and messages to my ex-wife pleading with her to stop, but nothing seems to be working. Update. The decision has been reached by the judge. His decision to maintain the 50/50 parenting arrangement was reached after consulting with our children. He said that there had been little change in circumstances to justify altering the agreement that was already in existence at the time. After hearing the testimony of 2 women I had previously dated, the court ruled that my ex-wife had engaged in harassment against them throughout their relationship with me. He also saw firsthand how my former wife and her attorney attempted to undermine my previous relationship. During the interview with my son informed the judge that my previous relationship had come to an end as a consequence of what the judge had observed. The court reprimanded my ex-wife and her attorney once again and advised her that she needed to stop harassing me. Unfortunately, that was the extent of the conversation. I'm going to check into what I need to do in order to have a restraining order in place right now. It's possible that I'll have to pay another attorney to complete this task.